Down in the Den, so go tell a friend. The best podcast on earth's about to begin. We got jokes and news and movie reviews. After Dark NC-17 with the crew. Interviews with the best artists around. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Welcome to Down in the Den. It's your boy Marz, and we are back again with another stellar episode. I'm on the road here in Boston. I'm having a blast, but we had to stop, make time for this incredible producer, pianist, singer, songwriter, and amazing artist, Freddie Muneaux. Freddie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'm excited. I'm talking to you. I'm having a blast. I'm still out of breath because I was running to get these glasses so we can see and do this interview. So if it sounds like I'm having an asthma attack, I'm fine. Just extremely out of shape.
I think we've all been there at some point. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. So Freddie, the brand new album, Tesla Complex, is available everywhere music is streamed. Loved it. But before we dig into that, we begin every single interview the same way. What's your origin story? How did you get bit by the music bug? How did you discover your abilities?
Okay, so hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's Freddie Muneaux. It's let me real quick. So my name is Muneaux. It's spelled a little weird, but the reason I did that was because there's another Latin artist out there that has my exact name. So just to avoid confusion, I spelled it a little bit different. But to answer your question, I grew up, my grandfather was in a band. He played, forever. So we sat around, me and my cousins, we'd listen to him play. My uncles played. But luckily I grew up during the 90s in the hip hop, in my opinion, the greatest era of hip hop. So
You're absolutely right.
I was immersed in that scene, and I fell in love with it. Why wouldn't you fall in love with it? So I started writing songs when I was about 12 years old. And the funny thing about that is I would take like existing songs and kind of just put my words over it, even in the same cadences, just kind of learning. I didn't know I was learning at the time, but I was learning, cadences and flows and stuff. So I would change the words to for my own. And then eventually I grew into like, writing over instrumentals and stuff like that. And then I was like, what if I made my own instrumental? So then my mom and dad, got me a keyboard, my first Casio keyboard. So I started messing with that. And, as time goes on, it kind of progressed. I took some classes about digital music making and learned some of that stuff. And then, here we are. And I think I've gotten pretty good at it so far.
I agree. I think you've gotten damn good at it. That's awesome. And you're absolutely right about that. We talk to a lot of artists, particularly hip hop artists, and I tell them, especially the young one, it's all about the 90s. It's called the golden era for a reason. Some of the most incredible. I remember a year where it was like Nas, Outkast, Biggie, all in the same year. So I'm like, that would be impressive for a decade, but in 1 year, that's crazy.
That album, actually, the AT Aliens album, I actually met Outkast. They came to San Antonio and they were doing a signing, for everybody who stood in line. I stood in line for like 2 hours. And I met them, and I got this commemorative keychain with the AT Aliens logo on it. And it snapped off, but I still have it because that's one of my most favorite things ever is that. And I got to meet Andre 3000 and Big Boy. That was crazy.
That is a life chip. That is a life chip, iconic artist. If you don't know who Outkast is, you probably should turn off the show because it's not the show. But please check them out. They have Freddie and I as co-star. I shouldn't have to tell anyone that. I should have. Right. So the Tesla project, great album. Walk me through the creation. How did that piece of music come about? And tell me about the creation of that album.
Well, after I stopped doing hip hop music, I had an idea to start a band. So I started this band called The Lost. And the whole intention behind that was to bring back lost elements of hip hop and rock. And so we did that for, about 10 years. We were, performing and touring and doing stuff, winning lots of contests, being all over the country and stuff like that. So during the pandemic, we obviously couldn't practice. We couldn't rehearse. We didn't know what was uncertain. We didn't know what we were doing. So I I took it upon myself to not be stagnant and idle. And I just started doing a passion project of my own. I always wanted to write one last or one more solo project that's completely me, 100% me. And so instead of, just being lazy, I decided, hey, this is a great time to do something. So I started making this project, and I must have made it, trashed it, made it again, and then trashed it some more, and then picked the very best that I had at the time and put it together with this album and made this album.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. And the pandemic has bred so much creativity. I think it's been one of the biggest outbursts for just everyone's story is the same. Over the last 2 years, you either just fell to the wayside or you became, ingenious with your creativity, and you're a perfect example of that.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Now, two of the tracks on our album, you work with one of our fellow den mates, Matthias. I love those songs. I love all the songs, but I love those songs. How was it working with him, and who else did you collaborate with on the album?
So with Matthias, like, man, we go back, like, when he was with Terra Firma, I was Lost. We shared a drummer. His name is Anthony. We call him Junie. Amazing drummer, amazing drummer. So he was kind of our link, and that's how I kind of got involved with with Matthias. And I shot a music video for him back, and I think it was 2013 or 14, called Sundown Shadows, and it was an amazing video. So anyway, progressing forward, we kept a good relationship. We still talked, and I told him I was working on this project, and I said, man, it would be great if we could just actually get a collab together and put something together, because I know, it's funny, we have the exact same birthday, so that's a fun fact. October 3rd. So we kind of shared that bond, and we kind of talked, and I sent him this piece of music, and excuse me, the song was Hold On, right? All I had was a piano riff, right? And I gave him a scratch verse, which ended up being the actual verse on the song. So I sent him that. He sent me back the harmonies, and then I sent him back another piece of music. So we were like kind of ping ponging, going back and forth, just like building this track and
Right.
to build who it was. And then he came up with the chorus, and I came up with the second verse, and we were like it's almost like friendly battling. We were going back and forth to see what we could
with each other.
exactly, yeah. And then so the final product of that was like, and then okay, I can't leave out my man Ian McIntosh, amazing musician. So I sent him, after me and Matt had done our thing, and I was like, hey dude, what can you add to this? Can you add anything? And my friend Ian is funny because he's always a minimalist. He's like, it's fine the way it is. It's good the way it is. You don't need to add anything else. But I like to push him a little bit, because if I do, man, he's a musical genius. And he comes out with these riffs that I'm like, how did I not hear that? You know what I'm saying? And so he put his piece on it, and I was like, oh my God, that took it to the next level. And so I did one last tweak to it before I turned it in for mastering. And man, I think it's a phenomenal song. It really captures the time, in my opinion. And that particular song is one of my favorites on the album. And then Back Home, I don't want to get too long in this one, but that one came really fast. That one came together really fast. I had this riff again. Ian knocked out some guitar on it, and then I gave it to Matt, and he had this chorus. It was almost country, the way he did it, and it felt like a back home kind of down home country hip hop mix. And so when he dropped that, I was like, oh man, I gotta come with it with the verse and kind of go into that, how you feel when you're back home, what it is. If you're far away from home, let's try and capture that essence of being back home, being at your grandma's house, or being with your family and stuff like that. So those are two of my favorite tracks on the album.
I agree, and that's definitely the vibe I get. So mission accomplished. It was a sensational couple of tracks that go along with a sensational album. So it was incredible. Now, how is it right now in Texas? It seems like you guys are probably top 3 in the entire country right now, just pumping out amazing music. The scene and the level of creativity coming from that area, the San Antonio, the Austin area, it's just crazy right now. How's that environment been for you with your music and your creativity?
Man. So for one, the Texas market, the Texas people are just so creative, and I feel like it's an untapped resource of creativity. And so that's kind of what me and Matt are trying to build, you know, and trying to build a community. Another friend of mine, John David, he's an actor. We did a movie it's called The Cowboy's Eyes. It's on Amazon if y'all want to check it out. It's a short. Um, we're trying to build this community of creatives, of actors, musicians, singers, everything, to kind of like work together to maybe build this community even more, to build the scene. And that's my approach to it. I mean, there's so many talented people around the city, around the whole South Texas and Texas region in general. You know, I think it's going to be as big as Atlanta in the next 10 years as far as the music scene. Atlanta's killing it right now. And
Atlanta's
so,
killing it for the last 20, 25 years.
yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely.
from being in this industry and talking to so many artists, I tell everyone, sometimes I'm, a producer will hit me up and say, hey, do you know anybody for this vibe? And I'm like, the entire Texas scene right now, when I say top three, I mean that. Everybody thinks New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, but you guys right now are blazing hot. So maybe afterwards we'll talk if you want to some artists that you want to link up with. I know
Absolutely. Yes,
I
absolutely.
know a ton. Texas is phenomenal. So,
Yes.
what do you have on the plate for 22? Fantastic album, starting to warm up. The world is starting to open up. What can we expect for the rest of the year? Any new music? Any new tours? What can we expect for the rest of the year?
To be honest with you, like when I was making this album, I didn't intend on ever performing it. What's crazy, I didn't. So it was like a passion project. I used to call it my last painting. Like this is the thing that I want to leave behind if I never make any other music. 'Cause, you know, it was uncertain at the time. The world was uncertain, and you know, I'm kind of an introvert, so I'm like make it a little more dramatic than it should be probably. And so I was like, if I go, this is the last piece of music. What do I want them to remember? So I made this. So I never had the intention of performing it, but some things are popping off now, and I think there might be some touring and some performances in the works. I wanted to talk real quick about this one song on the album, and I kind of have to. It's 18 Summers. That's a love letter to my daughters, and I wrote that. That was the first song I wrote for the album. And so, quick, long story short, my girls love this show called The Fresh Beat Band on Nickelodeon, right? And they grew up watching it. So I had the idea. So what if I got one of the girls that were singing in that show to be on this chorus? And through God's grace or whatever, I was able to connect with her, and she was more than happy to do it. Her name is Yvette Gonzalez Nasser, and she jumped on the song. She loved it, and we put it together. It's magic, and you should have seen the tears when my girls heard the song for the first time. You know, and it was insane, and I just really grateful that happened with that song. But as far as moving forward, um, we're gonna shoot some music videos. I'm actually getting ready to do Matthias's next video for "Don't Bother" right now. We're working on the video for "Back Home," and I'm gonna try and put together a couple performance dates. You know, just around Texas, around South Texas, and we'll see where it goes from there. Um, I thought this was going to be my last project, but I've got the bug and I can't stop. You know what I mean? So I find myself now still writing songs for something else. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to keep going. I think we're going to keep moving and keep moving forward.
Please, I beg of you, don't stop. I love the music. Please keep it coming. We need quality music. It's a lot of music out there, but it's not a lot of quality music out there. So we need you to continue. And the story about that love letter to your daughter, you almost made my little Grinch heart well up. So that is awesome. That is beautiful that you had that opportunity. So shout out. You said the young lady is Yvette. What's her full name?
It's Yvette Gonzalez Nasser.
Perfect. Shout out to you, Yvette. Thank you so much for making these dreams come true. That's what it's
Absolutely.
all about. And that's what we're all about in the Den. I always tell people Den is an acronym for dreams and nightmares. And we make this creative community because we're trying to do the same thing on a global level. We have artists, South Africa, Canada, wherever you know, all across the map that we all are have a common goal to work together, to succeed together, because there's enough slices of that pie for everyone. So I love what you're doing.
Abundance is important. Yes.
Plenty of pie. So it's been a blast, but I can't let you go just yet. I have to get your official den mate stamp in your passport. And to get your stamp with that official den mate pass, we play a little game. And
Uh-oh.
this game is called If you don't know, now you know. Baby, baby. Shout out to BIG. This
BIG.
game is brought to you by the good folks at Poddex. Please, please, podcasters, you guys are looking at me right now or listening to me on your phone or wherever you listen to podcasts. I know you're tired of asking the same damn 10 questions, especially when you're interviewing someone. Where are you from? How did you get in? You don't have to do that. Poddex is an excellent tool that you can use to get awesome questions that will just spice up your interview. So use the promo code, the D.E.N, THEDEN, save yourself 10%. And you can have awesome podcasts just like your boy Marz. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So since you're a musicians, we chose the music interview category off of Poddex. So we're going to have some awesome random questions to really let your fans get into your mind and kind of see where you're coming from. So question number one. We love music here in the Den. We love the arts. We're all about artists doing the best for themselves business-wise. We see artists like Kanye trying new ways to get music out with his stem player. We've seen music change. When you're a 90s baby just like me, and I'm sure when you grew up, you would buy a CD, you would look who produced it, who wrote it, if there was lyrics, great, and then you listen to that CD from start to finish. With streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, do you think that's good or bad for the artist?
I have really, really strong opinions about that.
Give it to us. Give us the juice. We want it.
And you know, at the risk of alienating myself, I'm not a fan of streams, to be honest with you, because I feel like it takes the full picture away of the painting. Like, I like to use that metaphor. So when I'm painting a picture, it's like, you know, you got to listen to the intro all the way to the outro to get the message. You know what I mean? So now I feel like with streaming, it's condensed. So you got to get it all in 3 minutes, because it also contributes to the attention span of the listener. You know, they're not as invested. They're like, you know, it's more like a nonchalant, you know, throw on this song or whatever. But, you know, for introspective people like myself who kind of overdo it, like I said, you know, I want them to hear every single word, you know, and maybe this song calls back to the first song in a creative way. And you kind of miss an element of that creation process for me, you know, and not to mention, you know, you get 1,000 plays and you get like half a penny, as opposed to somebody buying your CD. You get the $10, you can reinvest that, you know what I mean, into making more music. That's kind of how I feel about the streaming service. So I think it hurts. At the same time, I'm not going to completely trash it, because it helps you get your music to places that you can't reach. So that's good. You know, that's a very good thing. That's a huge resource. And if you're smart, you can take advantage of those kinds of resources.
Absolutely. And obviously there's pros and cons with everything. And one of the things that we try to do when I started this community, I really wanted to help with the business side, because that's where my area of expertise comes from. So, you know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I feel streaming devalues music because, like you said, when you bought a CD, you're invested. You're going to listen to it because you just gave them your 10, 12, 13, 20 bucks, however much the CD was. And there's certainly advantages of streaming. Like you said, you can get your music to a wide base, but I feel it devalues because, you know, you'll just play the music and it's on the background, and music is so valuable, but the artist never gets the buck. So we tell people, if you are going to stream Tidal, they pay the artist a little bit more. But no, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Now, as a music fan, and I used to, you know, write music myself, and I still make beats and I still rap, but no one will ever hear those albums. But is there a particular song that you heard that you're like, damn, I wish I wrote that? Is there one song that you just hear it and you're like, okay, this person is on another level?
Oh, there's a bunch actually. Um, Man, there's so many. I feel like some stuff that Big Pun wrote, I'm like, oh my God, how did he come up with those rhymes? Linkin Park, they got me through a very dark time in life, and they'll always have a very, very special place in my heart. You know, a lot of the stuff they wrote is like, oh my God, were they in my head? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. But if I had to pick a particular song, I don't even think I can pick one. There's just so many going through my head right now.
It's three. I'll give you three.
Three. So there's an artist out of Houston named Toby Nwigwe,
I love
and
Open the Good Way.
he's amazing. The song, it's called Five Five. I'm obsessed with that song. Like, this song is so good. I wish I had the charisma that he has to be able to write something like that. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I feel like that, One More Light by Linkin Park. It's so like foreboding, like how you kind of see what they were feeling. You know what I
Right.
mean? In light of everything. And last one, uh, Dear Mama by Tupac.
Great select. That's a hell of a three. Shout out to the late great Tupac. Shout out to Toby and the whole crew. They're doing their pandemic project was
Oh,
freaking amazing.
amazing. Yes.
Absolutely. And shout out to Lincoln Park and rest in peace to Chester, man. I love Lincoln Park. So those are hell of a choice. Hell of a choice.
Thank you.
All right. So question number 3. If you could go on tour opening for any artist, alive or dead, who would it be?
Lincoln Park. I would have to. I have to pick Lincoln Park. They influenced me so much in a time where I needed growth.
Sure.
So I'm not even going to front, like Lincoln Park.
Hey,
That's,
great.
that's yeah.
Great choice. Now, you may have answered this earlier, but we're going to refresh it for anyone that wasn't listening. Pay attention to what we're talking about, fans. What was the first instrument you ever played, and how did you discover it?
Piano. It was the keyboard. I discovered it because my dad had bought a keyboard back when I was like 7 years old, and it was always just in the room. I was not supposed to touch it, you know. So it was like the forbidden thing. So when he wasn't home, I would go in there and like turn it on and be like, "Is anybody listening to me?" And I would just kind of like, just kind of mess around with it. And at that point is when I fell in love with it. All my family played guitars. I can't play guitar. My fingers are double jointed. They don't bend that way. So piano was like a natural, better feel for me.
Now, did you learn how to play by ear, or do you read
Yes.
music?
Yeah, I learned all by ear. Like, and I don't recommend it. I'm trying to get my daughter to learn the proper way. It would be so much easier for her. But yeah, it took me a while, but I learned by ear, and everything is done by ear for me.
Awesome, awesome. I always interact. I love music, but I also learn by ear. I could not read. I was like, this is like math and something I enjoy. I could not read the music, and
Right, right.
I'm like 3/4 of a note. I'm like, no, 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 that's not going to work for me.
Oh yeah,
Now,
yeah. I took some of that theory in college, and I was like, this isn't working for me at all.
yeah, it's very hard. I tell people my brain, when it comes to certain things, I know my limits, and I'm not going to stress myself. Now, do you musicians, creatives in general, tend to be a superstitious lot? I don't know what it is about us. Do you have any pre-show routines or superstitions that you have to do before you get on a show or you get on stage?
Yeah. Well, see, I'm double because I played sports, and so I
Oh,
am
you
double.
got it bad.
Very bad. I was baseball and basketball, so I'm a double, triple superstitious person. Um, I don't know if there's a routine as opposed to like the way I set my keyboard up or whatever instrument I'm going to do. I set it up a certain way, check it like 50 times before before I plug in, so that way it doesn't fall in mid show or whatever. But I am a creature of habit, so yeah, I do. It's just been a while since I've performed, so I can't really remember what my routine was. If I ever do perform again, it'll probably just fall right back into it. You know, that muscle memory kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah,
But
I'm the same way. I'm a creature of habit. One day I had to borrow a friend's car because I accidentally put my keys in the wrong pocket and didn't realize where my keys was for the whole day until I hung up my pants and they fell out my back pocket. And I was like, oh my God, they were literally in my back pocket the entire day. But because they weren't in my left pocket where I always kept them, it messed up my entire day.
I hear that 100%.
Absolutely. So, Freddie, it's been a blast. You've answered all 5 questions. And if you don't know, now you know, baby, baby, which means you get that DMate stamp in your passport. You're official like a referee with a whistle, gang, gang. That means it comes with all of the DMate benefits, any shows, any concerts we will be promoting on our page. We're going to add your music to our DITD radio playlist to make sure it gets a spotlight with all of the other incredible DMates and artists that rock with us. And we're going to try to send you some merch so you can have your DITD gear and style for the rest of the year with some of the best gear around. So we thank you so much for joining us here in the Den, talking about your incredible music, your process, and sharing your story with the rest of the friends of the Den. But before we go, the floor is yours. Please let everyone know where they can find you on social media, whatever you have going on, anything you want to promote, any shout outs. You've earned it. The floor is yours.
First of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's been amazing, and it's been a lot of fun. If you're looking to check out the record or check out any of the projects we got going on, go to alpharedent.com. That's alpharedent.com. You can find me also on Instagram. It's Freddie, FREDDIE, MUNEAUX_, and that's pronounced Freddie Muneaux. And shout out to everybody who was part of this project. Big Q, John David, Matt, Matthias, Ian McIntosh, Yvette Gonzalez Nasser, and everybody who's loving this project. I really appreciate all the streams, all the purchases. We got merch, we got everything. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure. Welcome to the Den community. It's a pleasure to have you. We also have a group chat that I'm going to add you to with the rest of the incredible Den mates. We talk, we chat, we collaborate, we work together. So it's a pleasure to have you in the community, and we look forward to nothing but bigger and better things for you for the rest of the year and for the rest of your career. Rock on, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Blessings to you too.
It's a pleasure. Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to another stellar episode of Down in the Den. You know what to do. If you're looking at this on YouTube, smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, what's wrong with you? Subscribe. We have the best content on the planet, maybe even the multiverse. I don't know. Please follow my man Freddie. Download his music. Subscribe to his pages, his Instagram, his social media. Tell him that you saw him right here on Down in the Den, and you know what we do. If you saw him here on the Down in the Den program, you like what you're hearing, you like what you're seeing, put those red circles, smash his page and fill him with the red circles that stand for Marz, and let him know that you appreciate what he's doing, you support what he's doing. And as always, we end every single episode the same way. Peace, love, unity, and respect. Deuces. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now.